This is Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. It's sponsored by Independent Bank. Every Saturday morning at 8:30, we have people who are making a difference in the community. And Katie Huckle, I got to tell you, I reached out to this guy about a week ago because I've known the name and I've known the company that he's part of and established. But I thought, you know, he's such a behind-the-scenes guy. I don't know if he's going to accept my invitation. And within 3 minutes, I got, sure, I'll do the show.
Well, you say, you know, making things happen in Cadillac and whatever. He's making us look really good in Cadillac.
It is.
Puts us on the map.
It is really fun to have something that is used internationally.
Yeah.
Originate from here in Cadillac.
Right.
And our guest is Casey Danford of Training Mass. Good morning, Casey.
Morning, guys.
So you said around the world, international. It's true, isn't it? Your product's going everywhere.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. You know, we're in about 46 different countries. We have anywhere from the United Kingdom, you know, Spain, Italy, France. We're really good, heavy in Europe. We have nice distributors there. We have distributors in Israel, and then we also have Turkey. And a couple other places, Canada, and obviously Mexico are part of the U.S. Platform as well. So we do have a huge international presence, and that comes with international athletes. You know, over in the United Kingdom, we have soccer players. Here in the United States, we have NFL football players, college players, even high school players.
Mm-hmm. We need to go back and give the origin story on Training Mask. And this might take the entire half hour, but how did it begin? Where did it begin? And how did it become what it is today?
Yeah, so 2011, it essentially was one of those years I was just exploratory. I was looking for something. I got out of the vitamin supplement world, looking to put money into something else. And it was kind of like at that point, there wasn't a lot of money, right? There wasn't a lot of money. You know, we had a couple bucks put aside for, you know, development and all that. So 2011 came around. And it was kind of like, I'm going to expand out and kind of like look through YouTube to see what innovations and see what I can come up with. And it just so happened that I seen a video of Sean Shirk from the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. He was training with a gas mask on. And I knew Sean from the supplement industry. I said, so I called him right up. I said, Sean, what are you doing in this video? He said, well, I don't know what it does, but I have the best cardio in the UFC, so it's got to be doing something. At that point, it was a gas mask with a duct tape filter over top of it, and he was poking holes in it with a pencil.
No way.
So that's where I'm like, hey, listen, Sean, I think we have something here. I think I can develop a product that gives a resistance breathing device that can get you the cardio that you want where you don't have to wear a filter with duct tape in it. He's like, well, I know nothing about marketing, but I can be the face of the brand. I said, I'll take on the marketing. You be the face of the brand. Let's hit the road running. So I worked with Spencer Plastics and the molding company Mesic Mold. And they developed my first nozzle that was put into the gas mask, and that's where we started. We started with an Israeli gas mask with a resistance breathing cap in the middle of it. We created 3 resistances. It was all the way from yellow, red, and I think it was green. So the green was the easiest. Obviously, yellow was the cautionary, and the red was like, this is pretty extreme. So anytime that you're sucking in a gas mask and you're putting a resistance breathing device, you have about 450 milliliters of CO2 rebreathe in there, and that creates oxygen efficiency, right? So anytime, and people go, well, it's not good to rebreathe your own breath. Well, what happens when you go into hyperventilation? You actually put a bag around your face, and it basically measures out like your oxygen saturation with your CO2 saturation, right? So CO2 will drive the oxygen to go higher.
Incredible.
So the whole story began with you looking at YouTube and seeing a rudimentary mask and saying, we can do something here.
That's absolutely right. Yep. And then we started getting to the point where that mask was very, very elite. We felt like it was the elite of the elite mask, and we knew we had to develop something different. So in 2012, like 1 year later, I started seeing sales decline in 2011. Sales started declining 2012. I'm like, I got to innovate. I got to do something. So I started working with Spencer Plastics, and they helped me engineer like my vision right? And they took in my vision and said, okay, we're going to engineer this up for you. You tell us what you think. And I gave them kind of like what I thought I wanted, and they made it happen. And they said, this is what we came up with based on what you've drawn up. And it was exactly what I wanted. So we went into production with that. So we took the STL files and started manufacturing what you consider is the Training Mass 2.0 today. So 2.0 was the big hit. We were in a lot of different movies. Jake Gyllenhaal, Southpaw. Okay. We were in that. We were also in Apollo Creed.
Wow.
So yeah. So we did very well. Apollo Creed was a great, like a great movie to be in because it's Rocky series, right?
Right.
Who gets in a Rocky series video with a product? Nobody. We didn't even pay for that. We never paid a dime for that. We actually got a call from Michael B. Jordan, and he said, hey, listen, I'm coming up in this, feature movie, and I think you guys would want to be a part of it. I can't tell you what it is, but I need 30 masks. And we said, okay. At that point, we're like, okay, 30 masks, are we we don't really know if we're kicking stones here. We don't really know who Michael B. Jordan is at the time. And I said, yeah, just give him. I said, just, you know what? If it shows up, great. If it doesn't, it costs us 30 masks. That's okay. And all of a sudden it came out and it was explosive. Behind that though, prior to the Apollo Creed video coming out, it was, Marshawn Lynch coming out on Super Bowl Sunday, 2015 Super Bowl Sunday. Marshawn Lynch walked out with our mask on. And at that point, we had retail partners. And we were just starting into retail, Academy Sports, Dick's Sporting Goods. And all of a sudden, it was explosive growth. I think if Dick's Sporting Goods could have bought the dust off our floor, they would have done it. Like, it was selling so fast. We were going through 60,000 masks a month, and we couldn't keep up. So, and the same thing happened with this, kind of like that event with COVID as well. When COVID hit, we were selling so many masks, we couldn't keep up with the production. We were producing anywhere between, I would say, 1,500 to 3,000 masks a day, and they were going out the door as fast as we could make them.
Is that because training is a solitary thing and people had to do that by themselves and stay away from others?
Well, I think one of the things people started to train on their own and away from people, but they were also converting our masks over to filtration devices.
Oh my goodness.
So you're looking at Marshawn Lynch as the tipping point for the company.
Yeah, absolutely. And I still talk to Marshawn. Like, me and him text back and forth. We about once a month. I get an update where he's at, how he's doing, how things are going with him. And then during COVID, we actually made the Beast Mode filtration mask. And then we also pumped out a couple other things for him, lanyards and a couple other things that we private labeled for him.
Okay. So, and I remember a few years ago when the Cadillac Vikings football team went to the finals, there was a group of local celebrities that did good luck videos to the Vikings, and Marshawn Lynch was one of them. And I suspected that was your connection there.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, yeah.
We put we that's a special moment in Cadillac's history, right? And I want to match that energy with exactly what they produced with what we can produce, right? And so for us to get 30 athletes out on the out of the NFL that come on and say, hey, congratulations, Cadillac Vikings, for going to the States, that is, for me, that's gratification because I didn't coach during that. So, but it's like, hey, listen, and then it ended with Beast Mode, telling them to go out there and tear things up, right? And it was just an epic video.
There was an extra word in there, I think, that I had to edit out, but yeah.
I left that one out for you.
Sure. So the whole thing seems so unique in that it started here in little old Cadillac. How? I mean, it's an amazing story. It's like a rags to riches story.
Meaning your facility, your people. How did you assimilate all of that?
So one of the things that we, like as an innovation house, as an entrepreneur, we always come into certain areas where we go, it's the unknown, right? And we don't know. All we know is we may spend a lot of money there, we may not. what we do is we focus on the market, right? What does the market look like this? So when I was watching that YouTube video, to go back at Sean Shirk, I was watching the YouTube video. There was 385 comments in that YouTube video of how do I get this mask? How do I make this mask? And I said, you know what? Even if we produce this mask, I have 385 customers already that I can just post my link, to trainingmask.com and post that link to it, and they can go buy it. The minute we launched the website live, we have not had a day where we haven't had a sale yet. So that was just like a precursor of, like what the success was going to be. It was kind of like the funnel for us, where I look at it and go, okay, there was a created demand here. People wanted this product. They just didn't know where to get it. They didn't know how to make it. So I made it happen, right? And that's we start with the engineering. We really start in, entrepreneurs looking to get into entrepreneurship. You don't need to like go out and borrow money. That's one of the biggest things that I think start a confusion, right? You get the idea first. Look at the markets, get something written down on paper, draw up what you imagine this thing is going to look like. Make a Play-Doh, take Play-Doh, take clay, make it. If you got somebody with a 3D printer, you can create STL files online and put them into a 3D printer and get kind of like a copy of what you want, right? And then what I also encourage the young entrepreneurs to do, as soon as you do get an idea, write it down and then take a photocopy of it and then send it registered mail back to yourself. That way, if you ever have any patent disputes, you're first in on that, right? So you've sent this certified letter to yourself with this date, and if you ever have to go to court to defend a patent whatsoever, you go out and you go, I have this envelope from 2013 and it's 2019 now. Let's look at what I came up with in 2013, because this is intrusive to my patent. And I've already got it patented, but you're trying to disqualify my patent, but I have prior artwork to 2013.
Wow, that is something.
I was not expecting to have advice for entrepreneurs on this show, but that is terrific advice. So do you have a background in science, Casey?
No background in science. I do have a background in, I would say, medical.
Okay.
I was a CNA by the time I graduated high school, certification in nursing assistants. I was going to be I wanted to become an RN because my end game was to become an orthopedic surgeon. But at the point of the orthopedic surgeon, I was going up to Traverse City and shadowing Dr. Van Wagner, who's passed away now. I was shadowing him, and one day I came up probably 3-4 weeks in a row, just watching surgery after surgery. I just loved watching the surgeries on the knees, the LT band releases, patella tendon tears, things like that. It was just that intrigued me a lot, right? And he looked at me one day, he goes, where do you see yourself in, 10 years? I said, doing what you're doing? He said, not a chance. He said, 14 years it'll take you to get to where I'm at. He goes, go into something else, like computers or something. So I thought about it over the weekend, and the next week I went to Ferris and I changed my major to computer informational systems. And then, I have a bachelor's in computer informational systems, minor in marketing, and visual design, web media certificates. So
you attribute your success pretty much primarily to the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah. Yes, because at the end of the day, I don't want a boss. Right. And
that's why entrepreneurs do what they do.
I have my wife at home. We're good. So it's one of those things where, so it's, you de-gut the person when you take the entrepreneur spirit away from them, right? You're like, listen, your dreams aren't coming true because you didn't make it happen. It's like a downfall. And what we need to focus on as entrepreneurs is positivity and bringing people around you that are positive. If they're negative, get rid of them in your life because you don't need them. They're not going to bring you any value. They're not going to bring you up, and they're not going to bring you any help. So those people that are dragging you down, those people that are negative, they bring bad stuff to you. Those people you got to cut out of your life.
Huge.
I have had that conversation with so many of my students. We talk about, when you're in high school, your bubble is small.
Yeah.
And your bubble is what it is because these are the kids you see every day.
Right.
As you grow, as you mature, you will be able to control who you do and do not have in your life anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're 16 or 17 years old and you're thinking, this is it, this is all it's ever going to be. No, that is not true.
I would say at 16 or 17, you can think of, I used to, when I was laying in bed, I would think of ideas. Just think, and when I say an idea, it's something that solves a problem. Don't look at something else and go, I can make that same exact thing, because it's already made. You've already got competition. So if you're looking at a product and going, I can make the same thing and sell it for that, you can't, because they're already in the market. Okay. So what we need to do is think of a problem and then think of the solution and sell the solution. And that's where a lot of entrepreneurs go wrong, is they try to get into a market that's colluded or congested at the point where these guys have so much money, they will beat you 9 times out of 10. You may win in the niche world. You may, like, small things you may win at. But in the big picture, let's say you're making bags, or you're making this, or you're making that. Like, get into a market that is very niche. If you want to get rich, stay in the niche, they say, right? And so,
I've never heard that. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So stay in the niche markets. You know, ride that for what it is, and then always be innovating, right? And so one of the things about innovation is it doesn't always have to be within the wheelhouse that you are currently in. Think of other stuff. If it's in sporting goods, you know, go to something else, like, you know, home goods. Home goods is huge. Home goods is one of these things where people just buy home goods over and over and over. They may replace a cabinet, but next year, guess what? New color comes out, new cabinet, right? So the continuity, and that's one of the things you're looking for, is continuity, like reoccurring revenue. Let's say you're selling wipes, right? Like baby wipes, diaper wipes, doesn't matter. Wipes are, you know, like wipes, tampons, toilet papers, things like that, that consistently sell. Those are the things that you want to be in, that are replaceable. You know, and that's where you'll make the most amount of money. Products, you know, hard goods per se, those are like, they're going to make you money, but you better be innovating, because you got to stay ahead, because there is competition coming, whether it's coming from China or coming from local. It doesn't matter. You just got to always be innovating.
So I have a question for you, because you're so passionate about this. Who's your mentor? Who do you look to? Who inspired you?
There's quite a few people. You know, there's Tony Anise is one of my inspirations. He's the Ferris State football coach. Really good guy. You know, and he kind of lives a lifestyle of low key, and, you know, like, it's just, you know, he's just him, right? And he doesn't try to be anybody that he's not. But, you know, I do listen to Alex Hormozi. He's a great, you know, he's one person that I would say at a young age, I think he's only 32. Alex is probably one of the most motivating people that you, in business, direction wise, that you'll ever listen to. And he's came out of the blue. He's beat out Grant Cardone. He's beat out a lot of these guys, like, where, you know, venture capitalists. He doesn't, and he just basically is, me and him are like a lot alike on our belief systems. And so I listen to him and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly right. You know, I don't have the platform to be on the radio other than with you guys, but he's very good at podcasts, and he's very good, and all his information is free. It's on YouTube. There's all kinds of different videos. There's all kinds of different podcasts, and he just talks you through, like, steps of entrepreneurship and things that you don't think about. Like, as an entrepreneur, you need advice regardless. Even if you think you're the most right person in the room, there's other people that are more right and smarter than you, and that's what you got to understand. Because a lot of people, you know, they get in this wheelhouse of, like, I'm not going to listen to any advice, I'm going straight forward. You know, if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together.
Oh, wow. I need to write some of this stuff down. I'm going to have to listen to you.
This is like a master class on entrepreneurship.
Oh, it is. I mean, everybody get a pen and paper.
Yeah,
Start taking notes.
For those who don't know, Training Mask is on Plett Road, and it's in a very nondescript warehouse-looking building. If you could drive right past it and not even know what's going on in there. How many times did you have to add to that building? Because you've done a lot of expansion on that.
Yeah, we've done a lot of expansion. We started with 9,000 square feet, and we're at 36,000 right now. So, did
you buy that building with the thought that you were going to have to expand?
I bought that building because I needed to expand. At the point, I was actually renting from, I think it's called Graphics.
Okay.
I was renting there, and when you're pumping in 5 to 6 semis a day, and their parking lot is to hold only cars, they weren't very happy about that, right? And so at the point, I'm like, okay, I had to stack semis all the way out to Mitchell Street to say, okay, you can come in now, we'll unload you. And I didn't have a loading dock. So we were all hand unloading this stuff. Me and Nick Cooper. Nick is one of my right hand man. We have great staff. Don't get me wrong. Nick was just first in, right? He was my first employee ever. But we used to we would unload like a 48-foot long semi by hand, like daily. And it got to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm out of room. Like I'm so out of room that the fire marshal told us if you don't start moving this stuff, you're going to be out. Like, and so I said, well, I got to start looking. I just so happened to find, the building on Platte Road.
What was in there before, Casey?
That was a dairy place. It was dairy place, and then prior to that, it was Northern Printing.
Okay.
So Northern Printing was one of these companies that came in. They did very well because they had state-of-the-art equipment. They went out and bought a bunch of equipment, brought it in. Well, then technology caught them, right? And that's what I'm always saying, always be innovating.
Innovate.
Yep. And there was no innovation there because the money that they've invested, they didn't have any outside funds, right? And so what happened is they get caught in the technology sector. Yeah, they're pumping out local goods, but how can you expand on that? And then comes companies like Printify and Vistaprint and this and this and this. And those guys are selling stuff, for pennies, but they have millions of customers. It's a big difference between being local and being, like a conglomerate like Vistaprint is or something like that, right? And I always support local, no matter what. Like, I got Creative Embroidery right next to me. I have the ability to go out and get and source my own materials, but I give them the business instead, right?
Yeah.
I just make sure. Yeah, absolutely. And so I run my stuff over there. I say, hey, here's an art file. Can you put this on a hat? So my thing is, if it's a print shop right next door, it may cost me a few extra bucks, but you know what? Like, I'm giving them more money that they can actually buy more goods with, keep the lights on.
Yes.
So your building was originally 9,000 square foot, and it's 4 times that right now. You just mentioned the name of your first employee. So there were 2 of you at one point. How many are there now?
Right now, during COVID, we had 27. Right now, because like the market contracted from COVID, we hit a plateau with like right after COVID. We went 2021. We got into 21, and we realized things were bleak because people weren't happy with masks, right? And so
there was a stigma.
There was a stigma. We call it mask fatigue. And
sure.
Yeah, so like everybody was not happy about mask, and we had to innovate around that, right? And so what we did is, like, instead of just sitting stagnant, we came out with a mouth breathing device called Aeros X. And Aeros X is one of these devices that adapts to a football helmet. You can use it on the run. You just put it in your mouth and you breathe against resistance. It's a lung trainer. So you can focus breathe with it. So you can breathe through your nose and out through the resistance, or in through the resistance and out through your nose.
Okay.
Did you find that adoption on the part of professionals in their fields was easier because you already had the name recognition? Yeah.
It's definitely easier when you built a pre-market, right? Like it's like getting customers, scooping them in a funnel, and then feeding them what they want. If you wanted, let's say you wanted sushi, and I came out with a burger, you're not going to be very happy with me, right? So we give them what they want. You want a burger, I serve you a burger. You want this, I serve you that, right? So at the end of the day, we have to tailor what we come out with to the market that we sell to.
And to me, it sounds like you attract other trailblazers, that they migrate to you and you migrate to them.
Yes, that's correct. You need a support system at the end of the day, because there's like quite a few times where you see somebody like doing really well. Right? Some of those people are very lonely, right? If they're doing well, they go alone sometimes, right? And if you just reach out and say, "Hey, good job, you're crushing it." I did it today, actually, this morning. One of my buddies came out with this. It's called Rapid Radio. Steve Eilers. He has Rapid Radio, and it's all LTE, but it uses all the cell phone towers to get in as a GSM. So when the phones were down today, you can still walkie-talkie all the way to Florida. You can still talk to anybody that you ever wanted. So it's rapid radio. And I was just like, Steve, you hit the market at a perfect time, you know, but
a lot of it involves timing.
Yes.
Oh, totally.
Exactly. So you never want to see an entrepreneur go at it alone. But if you see somebody blazing the trails, just, hey, great job. Give them a compliment, because it's not, you don't need to look at that person and go, well, you know, they're doing great. That's not me though. Right.
Right.
Plus they also have doubters.
Exactly. Join the team of happiness and excitement, and put your focus on energy, be positive. You have a choice. You can be negative and nobody's going to want to be around you, or you can be positive and motivating and people will follow you and join you.
Right.
Yeah. Positivity has a way of being a magnet.
Absolutely.
It does. So you mentioned earlier, always be innovating. So are you at liberty to talk about what's next?
And look at this
What's
smiling
next?
face.
What's next? So we are coming out with a Training Mask 5.0. That's going to be, we're skipping actually 4, because we came out with a middle, we came out with the arrows in there. So I don't want to, so we're going to skip one version and we're going to go to 5. So we are innovating on that right now. It's going to be a multi-level, but it's going to be with analytics. So we're putting in a breathing platform at this point with an app and different applications that you can measure your breathing, whether you're running or doing yoga. You set it on the app and then it measures it. So if you're breathing slow and in and out, what's happening is like we're measuring that and we're telling you, okay, speed it up, slow it down, speed it up, like to get the optimal performance out of your breath.
It's something that connects to your smartphone.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. And that's where we're going. We're heading into the technology sector, but not only that, but we're also releasing a new brand called Gator Strike.
Okay.
So in Gator Strike, we are coming up with what we consider is the premier pickleball gear. And Gator Strike is going to be one of these brands. We're not taking the low price model on this one, because that's not what we buy it at, right? We're paying more money for our paddles than a lot of people are charging for the retail value, right?
Okay.
So if you're $99 on let's say Amazon, like our paddles are costing us at least that, right? Because you got shipping, you got inbound customs, you got all this stuff that comes, but because of that, like we have to charge a higher price, right? And this is one thing where I think people get confused on, is they think profit is a bad thing. If you're making money, you must be doing something wrong, right? Why are you making so much profit? Well, if you were in the same boat, right, you would want the profit as well. Now, it gets to, if you're buying like a Tiffany's bag, one of the Tiffany's bags probably costs them $3 to make. Okay, you're paying $1,300 for it. Right. The perception is 9/10 of the value. The perceived value is like, I pay a higher price, I feel like it's a higher quality. So, but our pickleballs and pickleball paddles are some of the best that are being made, because we're going through everything with a fine-tooth comb. We're actually coming out with a carbon fiber raw paddle it's very, very nice and smooth, but has nice grit to it. It's a smooth paddle, and this is going to be all black tall ray carbon fiber. So we're very excited to launch this. Right now, we launched our first series, which we gave 40 away I think it was at the WEX. We just gave 40 away to get people, motivated, new paddles. You walk around and sometimes people have like older paddles, or the paddles are a little bit beat up, and I'm not here to judge anybody. All I want to do is help them. So I want to go, hey, here's your paddle. I don't need you to say, hey, thank you, my paddle is going bad. I can see it. Okay. I don't need to acknowledge it, like to see it. Right. So what I do is I just hand those out and I give them to everybody, because then I want to motivate the people in this town to play pickleball. Because eventually, when they maybe do get a little bit more money, or they'll think of us as Gator Strike. Hey, remember when they gave to us? We're going to give to them. So, and it's a feel good.
It's the old adage of back scratching,
Yeah.
Oh yes, and you reap what you sow. You sow. Rich, do you know about pickleball? I mean, pickleball has overtaken everything, hasn't it? Racquetball has overtaken. Is it going to overtake golf? There's a question.
It will overtake tennis and golf. Yes, absolutely. The growth, this is one of the biggest growth spurts that anybody's ever seen in a sport that came out of nowhere. You know, it's a 10-year-old sport, but only in the last 7 years, I would say, has it really taken off, and only in the last 3 years has it seen traction. The last 3 years has been amazing because we have professional tennis players that are converting over to pickleball, and they're just making all kinds of noise for the Pickleball Association, right? So the USAPA, these guys are sponsored athletes, and these guys are making, you know, millions. Like, you think, oh, how much could a pickleball player make? $3 to $5 million a year on sponsorships alone.
No,
not kidding. Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Incredible.
And what is, I'm glad that you came in, Casey, because it's good for people to have a perspective of what goes on in that building on Plett Road.
Well, and it's inspiring.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
How can folks interact with Training Mask? How can they learn more about your company?
Yeah, trainingmask.com, you know, and then we have a phone. We answer the phone. We answer any help support that, you know, you might need. Let's say you get a device and you don't really understand how to use it. We also provide like athletes on there and how they've used it. We provide documentation on the setup, like that comes in the manual itself. So instead of using a manual in there because it's just a waste, because a lot of people just throw it away, we put a QR code and all the build outs on our website. You can actually search trainingmask.com. So we have a search function there, and you can go Training Mask 3.0 manual, 2.0 manual. So anytime that you put that in there, we put it online for a reason, because at the end of the day, like, everybody needs that information because they may have misplaced their manual, and that's why we made the digital copy versus the actual hard copy with the QR code.
Oh, smart. I have a question.
Yep.
So let's go back to what your mentor, the orthopedic surgeon, said to you. I'm curious, where do you see yourself and your company in 10 years?
10 years. So I see Training Mask being acquired.
Oh, wow.
Yep. I see a lot of different things coming in. I think our pickleball is going to take over that. It's going to, you know, because we do very well with Training Mask. Don't get me wrong here, but when you got to refocus the attention when something, you know, starts calling for it, and if pickleball takes over, the pickleball Gator Strike takes over Training Mask, you know, Training Mask, it's not going to take the back seat, but it's going to get, you know, essentially put in a corner to where we're going to still operate that. And it's still going to be, you know, going, but at the end of the day, we got to go where the money's at too. And it's not always about the money chase, but Training Mask, it's about like multiple streams of revenue that will rise you. Right?
You're diversifying.
Yeah, you got to diversify, because if you don't, like, you're going to get caught, right? So if you're in one niche market and you're not looking at other markets, that niche market may dry up at some point. Somebody may beat you to an innovation point. Somebody may beat you and outspend you. There's always things that happen in entrepreneurship, and you always got to keep your head on a swivel there. But at the end of the day, when you look at the grand scheme of things, like, if the diversification equals out to more than one, like, you're going to win, right? And you've got to focus on, you know, increasing your revenue no matter in what business, and not giving up. You got to always be inspired. You can't, like, have a one bad day and go, I don't know what to do. Like, don't let one day go at it the next, right? And I always say this, like, to all my entrepreneurs, win one time a day and you'll win 365 times in that year. Right?
Oh, boy.
It's true.
Yep. So just focus on the wins. Focus on the wins. Even if it's getting up and brushing your teeth, it's to somebody who couldn't or can't. Focus on one win a day. Make your bed, whatever it is. Get one win at work. You know, just something to win one time a day. And maybe you can log that. I think down the line, I am going to come out Win Every Day, out with a book, Win Every Day. And it's going to be like a note-taking book on yourself, right? So if you're not writing in it, you're really telling on yourself, right? So what inspired you today? What did you win at today? And what can you win at tomorrow? So it's not a huge book. It's not, you know, but it is 365 pages for 365 days.
Yeah.
We've got a winner with us.
We sure do. Casey, this was beyond my wildest dreams as far as what I expected it to be. So we really appreciate it. Training Mask, made in Cadillac, all over the world, and it's your company. Casey Danford, thank you very much for your time and expertise today.
I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you.
Cadillac Unscripted is sponsored by Independent Bank. Join us next time. Same time, same station for some more local chat here on 107.9 CDY.